This episode comes to you with a trigger warning for the mention of suicide. Hello and welcome back to Ramped Up, the Disability Podcast by me, Joel Sprouse.
And me, Julia Schenko.
This is our third episode, although it's our second time recording, because the previous recording was split into two. Not getting that was a bit unprofessional, a bit sort of, oh yeah, let's just do it and see what happens, which in hindsight wasn't a brilliant idea.
So, I enjoyed it. I felt like I was having a normal conversation rather than a scripted thing.
Yeah, I liked it too, because we didn't really plan anything. We just sort of went wherever we went.
Mm-hmm. Also, in the past, we did a few things for college, and we did scripted stuff, and it felt a bit more forced. And I listened back to the episode, and I was like, that's actually quite natural. I like it.
Yeah, because I hate to say it, Julia, you're not very good at scripted stuff. You get too nervous.
I do.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going to keep it. We're not following the script, but we do have things that we want to talk about. There are four things in particular. We're going to be talking about our pride flag. I know a lot of people don't even know about it. I'm really excited to talk about that. We're going to talk about, we'll be talking about inspiration porn. And don't worry, it's not what you think it is.
I was thinking the same thing when you said that to me. I was like, Joel, where is this going? And we're also going to talk about playgrounds, because that's something that we feel like as kids we didn't have the best experience with.
Yeah, so stick around. Right, first is a topic that I am really excited to talk about. It's the disability flag. Now, I only found out about this, I think, on like the 30th of June.
The last day of Pride.
Yeah, like the day before Disability Pride Month. I was like, hang on, we have a Pride flag? Now
we have a Pride Month?
Yeah. Oh no, I knew about that one. But
I didn't. I knew we had I know we have December for international. What was it? This International
Day of People with Disabilities. Alternatively, International Disabled Persons Day. But yeah.
Basically, yeah. I only know about that in December.
Yeah, that's the 3rd of December. But yeah, July is Disability Pride Month. And we have our Pride flag. So just like the LGBT community, they have multiple variations of their flags. So I think one of the originals, and at one point the most used, was, the traditional 6 stripes: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. It then developed to become a progress flag. So it added black and brown would be black and Asian and minority ethnic people. I don't know if that's very right, but yeah. And the light blue, pink, and white for trans.
Yes.
And then it developed from there and had the intersex variation, the yellow triangle with the pink, so the purple circle. So yeah, just like the LGBT flag has developed and grown and so on, the disability flag has too. Initially, it was just 3 stripes. This was in 2017. It was just gold, silver, bronze, which I think is not brilliant. It's a bit boring. It's a bit, yeah.
Why does that sound like they're like putting disabilities in order from most like bad, as in like the worst to the best?
It does sort of feel like a ranking leaderboard sort of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're like, by the way, you're bronze. By the way, you're silver. By the way, you're gold. I'm like, thanks.
Yeah. The idea of that was sort of the 3 medals at the Paralympic Games. That was the idea. And it was intended to represent the overcoming of obstacles. But it sort of showed sort of like competing and stuff, which we didn't really, But
it kind of feels a bit odd, to be honest. Like, if someone didn't know the meaning behind the flag, because let's be honest, when you see the LGBT, like the original, like rainbow flag, people knew what that meant, like the colors, if that makes sense.
Also it was
like
pretty.
by first glance, you can look at it. You're like, oh, I know what that is.
Yeah.
If you showed me the original disability pride flag, the gold, silver, and bronze, what am I looking at?
Yeah, and it's not very attractive to look at either, to be honest. It is very bland, sort of just. Yeah.
Can you imagine it being like a flag that you wave around? Like it would be so flat.
It just doesn't stand out. So that was 2017. The next flag was brought in 2019, right? And hang on, I'm trying to find it. I've lost it. It was by Anne McGill. I think I'm pronouncing her name right. And this is the one that I've seen on TikTok. This is the one I first became aware of. This is a black background with 5 like lightning bolt lines. And from left to right, those bolt lines are blue, yellow, white, red, and green. I'll tell you what they all symbolize in a minute. But the reason this one was changed is this is my favorite one. But probably because it's vibrant and looks nice. It's visually appealing. But this was changed because it wasn't fully accessible for all disabled people. The brightness and the colors made it quite inaccessible to some people. So then in 2021, the same artist redid the flag. So now they are diagonal stripes, straight lines, and I'm not sure why, but the order of the colors has changed. So now and the colors are less vibrant. So the colors are now red, yellow, white, blue, green. Which so the same colors and same meaning. I'll go through the meaning now. First, you have red, which is physical disabilities and difficulties. Yellow, intellectual, cognitive, and developmental disabilities. White, invisible and undiagnosed disabilities. Blue for mental disabilities, and green for sensory and perception difficulties. And you can, a lot of disabilities can fit into multiple categories, and if you have multiple if you have multiple disabilities, you can fit into multiple groups. There's another color, black, with black background, that represents the lives lost to disability, which includes medical negligence, suicide, and ableism. And there's lots of different reasons that people die, whether it's their health or it's suicide, because mental health is massively affected by physical health. I feel like
that should be a topic we should cover.
It will be. We will definitely cover that in a later episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the flag. Now, something I also found when I was researching this is like the Pride March. There's a disabled Pride March. However, since it's not so well known about, there aren't so many. So this is mainly in like New York and Chicago and stuff like that. There's one in Brighton. That's the nearest that I found.
Why in America? Everything happens in America. I want to go.
Yeah, well, you have to pay for your healthcare there. In Britain, thankfully, we don't. But yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. Cool.
Because my bill would be, I would be in debt for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So yeah, I really want there to be one in London. You know what? Now that I found out about this, maybe we'll take the next year to sort of plan something in July and like get one in London. Because I really want one.
I kind of want to do something like a art exhibition sort of thing.
Right.
Where we like rent out a space, because we have friends who are amazing, like graphic designers, artists, stuff like that. Maybe if they could create some artwork based on it, maybe.
I think that's a good idea. I also think like having disabled artists creating something, because then that helps get their voices heard as well.
we'll make sure to plan something, because right now we have this podcast to do.
Yeah.
And I think if whoever's listening to it right now, maybe if you guys can think of another way we could celebrate disability pride and create a sort of community for people. Maybe drop us ideas of what you guys might want to see in the future. Maybe not necessarily a pride march, but maybe I don't know. I'm blank at the moment. Let me think. Any ideas, Joel? Off your
Yeah,
head?
it's interesting because a pride march would be really cool, but actually it becomes quite inaccessible.
That's what I was thinking
you
as
think
well.
about all the mobility aids and having to get to one place, and crowds in themselves can be quite wheelchair unfriendly.
Oh yeah, I've even like things like concerts get overwhelming sometimes,
Yeah,
especially when
but I
you're
definitely
surrounded by
want to
crowd
do
of people.
something
Of course.
because sometimes it's so isolating to just be in by yourself and feeling like you're the only disabled person you know.
Or we could do kind of like a virtual thing.
Yeah, it's something we'll have to think about.
Yeah, I mean it's not going to set in stone. We're just throwing ideas
Yeah,
out. But in the future, why not?
yeah, of course. So yeah, but yeah, I think it's nice that we've got a flag to sort of it's part of our identity. And like many other identities have their own flags, we now have our own flag, and I really like that. That made my day.
What did you say the last color stood for?
Black or green?
Green. I think it was.
Green is sensory and perception difficulties. I'll go through them all again. Red is physical difficulties. Yellow, intellectual, cognitive, and developmental disabilities. White, invisible, and undiagnosed disabilities. Blue, mental illness. Green, sensory and perception difficulties. And black, lives lost due to disability.
I'm gonna die with this cough. I'm gonna die.
Oh, please don't.
Please don't. Anyway, back to this. Playgrounds.
Sorry, I got distracted.
I can tell. Joel gets very distracted. If anyone knows Joel in person, they'll know he's a very distractible person.
Distractible?
No, you get distracted mid-sentence sometimes.
When have I ever done that? Exactly. So I'm going to stuff my face with Eclairs.
And I've got like an entire like a little like candy.
I don't know why I'm eating Eclairs. I'm meant to be speaking now.
Do you want me to take over a little bit?
What are we talking about?
Playgrounds. Joel, 3-second memory. You fish.
That is because I was debating whether we should do playgrounds or porn first.
Right. Can we start? Are you good?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Let's go. Okay, so we can all agree as a community that playgrounds are not always accessible for us, disabled people, regardless if you are in a wheelchair, if you have walking aids, or if you're blind or deaf. Saying that, there are a few parks or playgrounds, you could say, that have wheelchair accessible like equipment.
I have
like
seen
those
very,
like
very few of them.
There are they are very few and spread out quite far.
Yeah,
But
I
there are a
think in
thing.
my life I've been to 30 different playgrounds and only seen one that's mildly accessible.
Okay, can I ask you a question? Did you ever do this thing when you were little? You would always like drive under the slide, like those like
monkey
you only
bars.
have the actually in my primary school, speaking of monkey bars, we had this huge like dome that you could climb on.
Right.
It's like a geometric kind of dome thing that you can climb on. and then there was this like arch that you can go in. So I would literally go in there and sit inside of it, and people would climb above me. Do you believe me when I tell you that I got kicked so many times?
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Like I got kicked so many times, and then my teachers never understood why I did it. They're like, if you're getting kicked, don't go in it. But me, I was like, I want to go. So
Fair enough.
that was me. The thing is, my mum would be like, why do you have these bruises? Like, where are they coming from? I'm like,
Other teachers hitting me?
No. My mum never really said, you just hit me, whatever. She knew what I was doing because she once caught me doing it, because when I was, I think, in reception, sorry, they would do collections, and when it came to collections, they would let us into the little playground for the reception kids, because we had our own little playground, like our own section of the playground, and they would literally let us into that playground, and I would go into that dome thing. My mum came picking me up. She's like, "Why are you under there? Like, you're gonna get kicked." And then I did.
I already have.
No, and I did get kicked. And my mum's like, "So that explains the bruises." I'm like, "Yup, that does." It was mostly my arms and like my shoulders though.
There's a TikToker I follow on TikTok, obviously. I can't remember their username, but they have a disabled child, and the disabled child, we've done this thing where we found an accessible playground, and so we're showing the accessible slide, and different types of swings. You have the normal swings that everyone knows and loves. You have the sort of like harness ones, and then there's a wheelchair swing. Now, I understand that they're costly and can't be everywhere, but when I'm talking about a person's childhood, I thankfully am relatively mobile out of my chair. Well, actually, no, I'm very mobile, considering, my body shape.
Considering me.
Yeah, considering most wheelchair users, I'm very able to get out of my chair. I've got good upper body strength, so I can pull myself up ladders and stuff, just about. But I think I would have had a far better childhood if there were accessible playgrounds that are inclusive, so that I can actually join my friends where they are, and
Don't trust kids with wheelchairs. Lesson learned by this one.
Oh, I disagree. I disagree very much. I used to, or actually I still do, like lend my wheelchair to my friends and like just see how they get on using a wheelchair, because it's like a very different experience to what they're used to. I really, really enjoy doing that. I've done it more than a few times. And actually, the wheelchair is kind of a toy. Or, you can lend it to some people as a toy. I've let dozens of babies, ride in it and push them along and stuff. So I disagree with that. Go on, man.
Once I tell you this, you'll be like, "Girl, why? Why did you let that happen?" I don't know to this day. I remember there was a school disco. Kids, after eating a lot of sugar, being hyper as heck, we were let out into the playground, and of course, like, I found it funny, and other people found it like fun as well, to like push me really, really quickly down the playground, right? But what wasn't funny is I put my brakes on, right, to like stop them from going fast. The brakes did nothing. I'm still going full speed, right? Because like it's not like the brakes were on, but my wheel was still moving.
Yeah.
Because this kid
was pushing you so hard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember going he like stopped suddenly, I went head, I tipped forward, head
geez.
first into a metal gate.
Oh, my friend did that to me once.
Nosebleed and everything.
What we were doing? Oh, what game were we playing? We were playing dodgeball, I think.
That was the worst. I hated that.
A friend was pushing me, and then pushed me really fast, and then we turned at the end, and I just flipped onto my side. Yeah.
Thankfully, I had that happen to me. Thankfully, I was near
it
a
doesn't hurt
wall.
so much. It's scary, but
Heart attack like no other.
oh yeah.
But the thing is, I was thankful not to be by a wall, so I literally braced myself with my hands on the wall. So my head, the whole tip on the big wheel that way to the left, and I held myself back with the hands. So I was like, no. Can we also maybe touch upon school in playgrounds a little bit? So it's mostly to do with PE and sports. So I don't know if you had this, Joel, but when they were doing stuff to do with kicking with your feet, right? They would give me a hockey stick.
Yeah. Okay, that's better than my school.
And someone would literally push me around, and I would do with the hockey stick. You do not know, kids have no mercy. They have no mercy. So when the ball was near me, obviously people are trying to kick it away from me, but they don't realize they're crushing me in the process.
Yeah.
So I would come out of PE with so many bruises. It's ridiculous. The only sport that I loved in primary school, secondary school, I didn't really do PE because of health and safety stuff.
Same.
And
they were doing football, and the PE teacher was getting angry that I wasn't turning up in class. I'm like, well, I mean, you're not doing anything to include me. I'm just sitting watching.
Yeah, exactly. I had that happen to me once where I was maybe in year 7. Yeah, it was my first year of secondary school. And I was always forced to sit in the PE hall and just watch. And just not do anything. Just watch. And I remember my TA at the time, she was like, but what is she getting out of this? Just sitting and staring.
Let's move on now to a topic that sounds dodgy but isn't as dodgy as it sounds. Inspiration porn. Now, it's probably not what you're thinking. Inspiration porn is defined as the portrayal of people with disabilities as being inspirational to able-bodied people. Sort of you're going through all this crap and you're still so positive.
I feel so bad for you. I feel so bad for you.
Yeah, but not only that, but you inspire me. I could get my friend to tell you that to say stuff like there was a time we were stopped while we were shopping in a shopping centre, and this man went to my friend, oh, I bet he never complains about life. Oh, I bet he's so inspiring. Mate, I was literally going to meet my friend. That's not inspiring. Okay, if we do something inspiring, if we achieve some great achievement, then fine, you can be inspired by us.
Once I get a medal in the Paralympics.
But don't be inspired by me going to get milk from Sainsbury's. That is not inspiring.
Once I win a Paralympic medal, that's when you can call me an inspiration.
Exactly. Then I've done something good and achieved something real.
Or published a book.
Yeah. Or become I was gonna say become a queen.
Dude, you're a male. You'll be a king.
Yeah, if I make some great achievement, then you can be inspired by me. But
I mean,
my life isn't inspiring.
People can say that someone who has a disability becomes a doctor. That's inspiring, that someone with a disability can go into such a hard and difficult career path. Because I was actually asked once, oh, do you want to go into medicine because you do so you are surrounded by so much medical stuff. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll be able to substitute Billy over there because he needs to do a surgery at 8 o'clock this morning for a gallbladder removal. I'll just do that. Like, no, dude, I can't do that. Like, also,
yeah. And when
it's
people say, "Oh, but you've got so much
okay."
experience about field," it's like, yeah, but
Not
I've lived in the hospital. I don't want to spend more
exactly.
time in the hospital.
Exactly. Like we're not the ones performing procedures and taking bloods and stuff like that. We're literally sitting there. To be honest with you, I feel like a plant. I just feel like a little plant who's just like laying on the bed, who eats, sleeps, and watches Netflix, and just lets anyone like take bloods. Yeah, sure. Take a
Yeah,
urine sample. Yeah, sure. You want to do like a swab test? Yeah, sure.
yeah.
Just do it all to
Being
be alive.
woken up at 3 in the morning, need to check your temperature and stick this in your mouth. Quick disclaimer: if you are disabled and you want a career in medicine, please do. We're not discouraging you. And just the issue is when everyone expects something of you, and
Mhm.
actually that's not fair. Some people might expect me to have a boring life and never do anything. That's not fair. I might be disabled, and some people, yeah, I think it's the expectations that need to be managed, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Also the whole inspiring thing, like, oh, I'm going into because I want to go to university and do HR. They're like, oh, you want to do HR? I'm like, yeah, because I see the discrimination within the workplace and I want to fix that, hopefully. And they're like, oh, that's such an inspiring thing to do, and da 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 da. I'm like, no, I'm just fixing
It's an
what's
ordinary
wrong.
career. It's
Exactly. I just want to, improve something that's already there and just work in that general area. So that's not really much of.
yeah. I was talking about this with my parents yesterday about why some people find disabled people inspiring.
Mm.
And they were saying it's because they look at a disabled person and go, wow, they've got all of these issues. They're going through all of these hardships and all this pain and and yet they're still continuing. Here's my issue with it. I can't find the words to phrase it, so I'm going to use this quote. It's from the TV show Speechless. And it says that inspiration porn is like a portrayal of people with disabilities as one-dimensional saints who only
Okay.
exist to warm the hearts and open the minds of able-bodied people.
So can I maybe rephrase that? Maybe what you mean saying is people find it so inspiring because they have a certain mindset of what a disabled person is,
Yeah,
how they are, and how they manage the world. To them, seeing it in real life in front of their eyes, to them that's amazing. And as much as it is, like, let's be honest, like, it is amazing that we can access the world around us,
yeah,
as it slowly but not as quickly as it should be is getting accessible for us. However, if people can take that inspirational stuff and put it into physical use, like into a physical, like, way of solving a problem, then that would be better. That makes sense.
mm. I think that people have an expectation that disabled people are nothing more than their disability. And so therefore, when they see someone who's more than their disability, they're surprised and think that it's unusual or special in some way.
Mm-hmm,
And so
mm-hmm.
they praise that person because they're not like everyone else, when actually the truth is, no one is simply their identity.
No, yeah.
If that makes sense. No one is one part of their identity.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, if there was actually this video that I've seen, and I think I've talked to you about this, where there was these people who were put into wheelchairs and they were told to live in the day of a disabled person in a wheelchair. And they, were complaining about how it's so difficult, this, that, and the other. I would rather die than be in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Which is awful.
A quote like that from a celebrity who's quite well known. I don't remember the name of the person. I'm not going to mention it.
Mhm.
But hearing a public figure say that if they were disabled, they would rather die than be disabled is so wrong.
Mm.
It's so wrong because at the same time, it's not a fight that we have to get through. It's just our way of living. Like, we don't know another way of living. Like,
Mm.
people always ask me, oh, would you like to walk one day, or wouldn't you like to be able to join your friends on like the climbing frame, or stuff like that. And as a kid, I would always say no. Like, I would be like but why are you asking me this? And only when I got older, I realized that people view that as not normal, which is bad. Honestly, it's so disheartening because it shows the mindset that, oh, unless it's accessible for them, they don't care. Like, if you struggle to get somewhere, deal with it on your own. It's until we make a big fuss about it is when ramps are put in place, when things become accessible to us. Unless we we break that mold of being inspirational and instead putting our voices to actual good use and letting them know that we need certain things in place, that's when you can call us inspirational. It's when we get what we deserve.
Right, that brings us to the end of episode 3 of Ramped Up, a podcast by Joel Sprouse
and Julia Shenko.
Thank you very much for joining us. In a future episode, we will be talking about FFIs, or frequently found issues. We'd love to hear your comments, what sort of issues you have to go through and deal with as part of your daily life. We want to hear from you, whatever your disability is. We'll be back for episode 4 of Ramped Up. We'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.